Good evening, everybody. Recording here from the fourth floor of Olathe Medical. Jesse downstairs, one floor. Hello, sir. Another win for Garvey's squad. Moving to 4-1 on the year, moving up to the highest score of the league. So, nothing to complain about. Let's go through my team here. Trevor Lawrence, 21.2. The Jags break out. Finally win a ball game. Jesus Christ, my hair is atrocious. Finally win a ball game, 9 attempts. They lost 9 straight games. Very good showing against the Colts, 370 yards, 2 touchdowns, never something to complain about. Still had a turnover, no rushing yards, so pluses and negatives. He got over 20 points, so I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. Geno Smith, 22.6, garbage time, massively saved his performance. He had that big run that got him like 5 points at the end there, and then a big touchdown at the end that kind of saved it too. Still keeps him in the top 10 of quarterbacks for the year, so nothing to complain about there either. Brian Robinson Jr., 13.8. Obviously a very, very low rushing game. He was battling injuries all week, battled a big injury, didn't practice a lot. So him getting his 2 goal line touchdowns was absolutely huge for me this week, and hopefully he can get a full week of practice, get healthy for me. Derrick Henry, 16.1, just a massive gain at the end and overtime to kind of seal the deal and put the stamp on his performance. He's so good this year, man. I'm happy to have him on my team. CeeDee Lamb, 8.9, another below expected performance. Not great. Him and Dak look like they were getting pissed off at each other. So hopefully they can figure that out, as I need him to be this wide receiver 1. My hair is, I can't even save it. I need him to be my wide receiver 1. That's what I drafted him to be. Especially with Rashi out for the year now, for sure. Got to have him step up. Wan'Dale Robinson, 13, touchdown save performance. Didn't really have many targets, but again, he was being shadowed by the best corner this week. So, number 1 target for Danny Dimes this week. Gonna move back into the wide receiver 2 into the slot next week. So hopefully that'll open up some more targets for him again. DK Metcalf, 5.5. Boomer bust prospects always there with DK. You guys know that. Isn't a great yard, but still averaged 10 yards per catch. So I'm not upset with that. Kittle, 16.4. Great performance. He's tied in 1, I believe. So I can't complain about that. He had a rough week, banged up whole practice, banged up last week, so I think he has a Thursday night game this week, so he needs to rest, get healed up, especially all the 49ers. They're 2-3 and their whole team is hurt. So Josh Downs, 11.4, needed the performance from the stopgap in the team this week with buys and injuries. Cold Joe Flacco, as long as he's behind, as long as he's letting the pigskin loose, I think Josh Downs will be a flex play, maybe even a wide receiver 3 play. But as soon as AR-15 comes back, that's not going to happen. Chiefs defense, only 1 sack, but also an interception. Decent performance. As long as, they're going to have Chris Jones. They're going to have the guys, the secondary on the back end. So they're not going to give up a lot of points. Just need some more turnovers if they're going to be in that upper group. Butker, 14 points. Very solid performance. He missed that 50-plus yard. That would have made it 18. So not complaining about him. AJ Cole, 13, another double-digit performance in a position that I was struggling with early in the year, so happy he's with me. David Njoku, 1.9. He was coming off a sprained ankle, 4 weeks out. Justice Hill, 3 points. A backup type of performance after his breakout receiving last week, so he's all right. So hurt was Pacheco and Rice. I dropped Rice. He's done for the year. And on bye this week was Herbert, Ridley, McConkey, and Goddard. So hopefully they come back good next week. For Mikey's team this week, Joe Burrow had his breakout performance of the year, going for 392 and 5 touchdowns. Huge Chase and Burrow stack week, as I'll get into with Chase too. He needs them to have that chemistry to bring them back to that top level and put Mikey back where he needs to be. Watson has another stinker. I think Mikey's probably losing his patience with him. His offensive line's awful. His attitude sucks. He doesn't look good. So a lot of things the Browns got to fix. Alvin Kamara, a below average performance from him. Didn't even reach double digits, but again, tough Chiefs defense. He needs him to get back on his MVP caliber performances that he's had the first couple weeks. Jerome Ford steps in for a week for Saquon. Had a poor performance, didn't really do good, but again, the whole Browns kind of struggled a little bit. So I think they could all work on getting over the horizon. Hopefully, with Chubb coming back, Ford can still hold a little bit of fantasy value. Chase, 10 for 193 and 2 huge touchdowns. 36-point performance. Him and Burrow went crazy. Put himself back on the map, top 5 wide receiver for sure. Even maybe putting himself back in the wide receiver 1 because this year's wide receiver 1 has been inconsistent. So Chris Olave has his worst performance of the year, only scoring 2 points, shadowed by Jamari Conner and Trent McDuffie. So that's a recipe for kind of failure in the first place. Those guys are ridiculous. They did well taking him out of the game plan and holding him to a short amount of yards and catches. Trey Tucker was a flyer play for Mikey with Adams being out. Only 2 catches for 18 yards. Going to be interesting to see if Adams does move on, which I'm guessing he will, if the Raiders get a wide receiver or not in return. If they don't, Trey Tucker is definitely going to be a bigger part of the offense for the Raiders. McBride returned from a concussion and up and down battling injuries through last week. Big part of the offense. Him and Kyler, every time they get more and more chemistry, he's just going to get better. Christian Kirk pulled in some big gains, 4 for 88 yards. Consistent performer. He's a veteran now, even though he's only like 27. He's been in the league 6 years, so he's always going to find his way to get on the stat sheet, even with a shit bag at quarterback. Seahawks defense started off hot. They had that 100-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown, but couldn't hold strong against Danny Dimes and the G-men that almost gave up 30 points. Who else we got here? Groupie, Sedalia native, shit the bed. It's a shot for Mike. Johnny Hekker can go to hell too. Tyler Lockett had a good performance for his depth. That was promising. Snoop Huntley's a short terms. Taylor's D, another couple turnovers. That's always good. Jamal Williams only got 2 touches and almost screwed up that kickoff return. So that's not ideal for Mike. Hurt did not play. Adams and Cooks and Chubb did not play for him. And Abai was Saquon. So he needs Saquon back next week. All right, around the league here, Alex rides his momentum, giving Nick Lowe his first loss of the year. Alex's team is good, man. I said his team's good. He's got good depth. He's got good front-end guys. His team's finally coming together after the first 3 weeks. Everybody scored in double digits except his specialist. DJ Moore had 25. Bowers and Commanders had 20. So, big matchup coming up against myself this week, so it'll be a good one. Nick Lowe, first loss of the year. He didn't score a lot of points. Again, he hasn't been scoring a lot of points in the last couple of weeks after all of his injuries and his big trade. Has 2 big players and 2 Lions on bye, so Debo, Wicks, Ertz, and Leggett all dropped stinkers. He dropped Leggett again, so he's going to have a new name. So you can say as much as you want about JD and Lamar, but he needs the rest of his team. All right, Jesse knocked off Parker. Dominating performance from Drake London on Thursday Night Football kind of set the tone for him. Double-digit performances from, I think, everybody except 2 people on the squad is always a good recipe, and he'll look to continue being a top 3 scorer in the league, as he has been so far this year. Parker loses his 3rd in a row after such a hot start. Joey Cool absolutely balled out. I love Joe Flacco, but he's just not. AR-15 is going to play over him. It's just the way it is. He always has so many points on his bench, but it's one of those situations for Parker is whenever he puts those guys in, they never perform for him. So he's just got to figure out consistency, figure out who he needs to put in. Got a massive matchup against Ryan this week of 2 and 3 teams. Harrison gets a big win in a matchup of the 1-3 teams as he takes down Owen. Harrison, he got massive contributions from Danny Dimes and Baker. Baker connected with Mike Evans and Brian Thomas Jr. having another big game, especially growing more and more into that offense as a rookie. So going to keep on riding the momentum against another big game against Jackson next week for Harrison. Owen had a good week consistently and scoring-wise, just can't find a way to get it done. He either plays the highest score or he just fails to show up when he needs to, right? So he needs Puka to come back. He needs Hawkinson to come back. Really hopefully turn this season around before it's too late for the former champ. Ryan wins Sped Brother Bowl preview. Those teams are ass. Garrett Wilson had a good performance. T. Higgins had a good performance. Ryan needs Mahomes to get back after his bye up into that upper echelon of Mahomes' performances, or else he's going to be in trouble. Kamish falls to 1-4. Promising performances from Kyler and Tucker Kraft. Bajorquez had 20. But when your punter has 20 and you're still losing, that's when you know your rest of your team needs a lot of help and a lot of things to do before it's too late for Jackson. So our Week 5 standings, it goes Garvey, Jesse, Nick Lowe, Mikey, Harrison, Alex, Ryan, Parker, Jackson, and Owen. And then for my power rankings, I have Garvey, Nick Lowe, Jesse, Mikey, Alex, Harrison, Ryan, Parker, Jackson, and Owen. For our Week 6 matchups, we got Garvey versus Alex. I think Alex will beat me 164 to 143. We got Mikey versus Nick Lowe. I think Nick Lowe just pulls it out 143 to 139. Jesse versus Owen, 147. Jesse, 129 for Owen. 135, Harrison versus 117 for Jackson. And 127 for Ryan and 123 for Parker. For my playoff predictions, I still think it's going to be Garvey, Nicolo, Jesse, Mikey, and Alex, and Harrison. Those are the 6. I think in the Sped Bowl would be Ryan, Parker, Jackson, Owen. There's I think 4 teams that are just 100 points above everybody else. So, kind of already separating ourselves maybe a little bit early this year for fantasy football. So, congrats to everybody that lost. Congrats to everybody that won. Sorry for everybody that lost. See you guys next week. Go Royals.